Guys, another Adonis review. Today I'm doing Propagation Paradise Hotel. I believe I'm saying that right. And I feel like this is a little hidden gem they have added to the store. It's been out for, I don't know, a few weeks now. It's a very cheap game. I think the standard price right now is $20, and maybe if you have Plus or something like that, you can get it for 15. I don't know if that's still a thing, but very cheap game. And honestly, I think it's very worth it for what you're getting. To kind of quickly summarize what the game is, you are a he, her, female woman. I'd imagine her pronouns would be, and she works at a hotel. I'm imagining called the Propagation Hotel or Paradise Hotel. Maybe Propagation isn't the hotel name. Maybe it's a nice word that means something. And an apocalypse essentially happens, and you are at the bottom of the hotel when this apocalypse happens. Some sort of apocalypse that last, just started. And for some reason, every zombie is super eroded and decayed, like they've been zombies for a long time. I digress. And apparently, your sister is somewhere else in the hotel, because I think she works there too, if I'm not mistaken. And you want to go find her. So you essentially start off the game with a security guard. It's essentially just buying time until you figure out that he's the only one left, and you guys have to recreate Earth together and have sex. Unfortunately, you, instead of waiting it out and finding out he's the last man and recreating Earth with him, you force him into going with you to find your sister because you are unwilling to wait. And he realizes that plan's fucked, and you immediately get him killed within a few minutes of going on this journey. And you take his gun, and now you go alone. So his day completely fucked. It would have gone much better for him if you guys just waited it out. But oh well for him. You don't care. You have a sister to find. So, equipped with your spray that heals you, a gun that you took off his corpse, and a flashlight that is the most useful thing you will ever have in this game. You'll go on a journey to save her life by going floor to floor to floor, unlocking doors and getting tools and stuff to get to the top floor, staircase by staircase. And here's the thing. I plan to do the Vampire Justice review here in the near future, and it's getting a lot of high remarks for the vampire game, that it's well done. Obviously it has its foibles, but it's well done. And the thing I really noticed between this game and Vampire is this game feels really smooth around the edges. I believe this game is made by the same group that makes the Walking Dead games. And say what you want, but the Walking Dead games are truly one of the best games you can get in the VR. They have really well done, made the controls super duper adaptive. Probably the most adaptive VR type of controls I've seen thus far. They are 100% made for VR in every capacity. And obviously most games now for the VR2 have to be, but they've gone above, way beyond to do that. And that falls into here. They didn't add adaptive triggers and stuff, which is a shame. I've heard complaints about that, which is a shame. But you would think, since the style that they kind of make their games seems like a kind of cartoonish style, when you look at it, as you would imagine a cartoonish style for Borderlands, for example. But for some reason, these games look the most realistic out of most games. And it's the same type of... It's missing that in, like, the Vampire games. The Vampire game looks good, but it's very easily an unlived-in world. It's like a very facade, like a nice facade, but very empty when you go on the vampire world, for example. While this feels very lived in, very, like I said, it's just the edges are smooth. It's very nice. Another thing this game does greatly, and that VR in general does greatly, and this uses the most, is the flashlight. If you are in a VR game, the number one thing you'll notice, maybe it's the OLED lights with the PSVR 2, I don't know, but flashlights in VR 2 are by far the most clean, terrifying, beautiful thing in VR. Flashlights in the dark in VR are work so well, and that's this whole game essentially. You looking through corners, pitch blackness, lit by your flashlight that will start to die if you don't find a flashlight. And I'd almost rather have my flashlight than the gun at certain points because it's fucking scary. With that being said, this game has been noted to be, not the longest game. Again, it's $15-20, so what can you expect? But even with that, I do feel you get a good amount of it. I mean, the way that this game is meant to be played is meticulous. You're supposed to creep around corners and, play it safe and be scared and that shit like that, right? And if you play it like that, it's a pretty solid amount of time, Obviously, if you just run and gun, don't give a fuck about anything, you should be able to clear the game maybe in 3 hours, I'd say. But I feel like for the price, the quality is definitely there. And in a world where I'm truly hoping that the PSVR 2 doesn't just live a PSVR 1 life, but with slightly better games. And what I mean by that is, when the PSVR 1 came out and we got to see Resident Evil 7 in it, I mean, it was stunning. It really truly showed what could be done. I mean, if you could have a game like Resident Evil 7, which was an amazing first-person game by itself without VR, and then if you could have that same thing done in VR, looking just as good, and fully adapted, and then, what happens when it first releases the PSVR 2, we get Resident Evil 8 immediately, free upgrade. So it's like, this is starting off great, another AAA game, immediately released, perfectly adapted, looking fantastic. But then we sit here all year waiting for another one, and we can't get any game that's a AAA game recreated. We have Horizon, which would be amazing, and Thought, which is another thing why it's amazing, but again, it's like let's say like a tech demo. It's not the whole Horizon game made into VR, which, like, if they did that, like, suck me off until I'm dry. Like, take my money, PlayStation. And I give anything to hope that PlayStation, luckily we'll at least get Resident Evil 4 in this fucking time frame as well. So if PlayStation VR 2 does fuck us like that, at least we'll get 2 Resident Evil games. But, so far, the games that have came out after Resident Evil 8, the beginning, there's not bad games. I'm not saying there isn't. It definitely went smooth and good, and you can do multiplayer now, but there's not been another AAA game. With that being said, so when you get these games, and most times, more than often than not, you get disappointed by a game that you're hoping is going to live up to the hype of the PSVR 2, because the PSVR 2 has so much to give, and every game that comes out is either a letdown or basically exactly what you could hope from it. And I'd say for a game that's saying it's only $15-20, you expect the least from it. And I feel like it gives you way more than you expect. It's a simple game, horror, but it's done, it's cleaned out, and I'd say it's well worth the cost. I'd for sure get it if I were you. I'd say the price, the graphics, the way it looks, for PlayStation VR 2, there's definitely good games that exist beyond it. I'm not saying there isn't. I just feel like this is one on the list that will definitely show you how good the VR 2 works. So, if you try it and you like it, let me know. If you tried it and you didn't like it, you feel like I lied to you, let me know too. And let me know why. Later, guys.